Boeing shares taking a dive today, down more than 7%. It comes after Wells Fargo downgraded the aerospace giant to underweight, slashing its price target to $119 from $185. The firm noting free cash flow concerns, saying Boeing would likely need to clean up its balance sheet and raise $30 billion in new equity in order to fund new plane development. Joining us now is former United Airlines CEO and CNBC contributor Oscar Munoz. Oscar, good to see you. So, you dealt with Boeing for a long time. How dire does this look, and how important is Boeing overall?
Well, Boeing's importance to the airline industry is clearly an important one. It's important to the U.S. manufacturing complex, right? It's one of our biggest things we make in America. So it's critically important, which is why we're talking about it here. With regard to its future, there's no question about the significant sort of hurdles that it faces. Certainly their balance sheet is one of them. New product development, which you mentioned, is another. The backlog of a lot of customers who are not happy with the lack of aircraft that was going to sustain their growth. So there's a lot of cleaning up to do. And then you got DOJ and the government that's already has been lurking around. So all of that has been known. The key has always been to find the right leadership, the right leader to make that work. And I think they've done a very nice job of finding Kelly Ortberg, who we all know in the industry, who has both a manufacturing background as well as had good financial acumen and a level of following on the street. So yes, lots of problems. People will always have opinions. Everyone has their belly buttons, and as they like to say. And I think Wells Fargo, from what I quickly read, it's not out of the question that they should raise those concerns. What it doesn't account for, of course, is the leadership angle. There's a very prideful organization there that is just dying to prove the world wrong and get things right. And they will need some time. At least the conversations I've had with all the right people involved at that corporation and on that board, that support and that backing is going to be there. And so I wouldn't count them out yet. But again, it is going to take some time. And as I always like to say, there's proof and there's promise. And There's going to have to be a lot of proof every quarter.
Yeah, the proof is the question, how long we start to see convincing proof that affects the stock. I want to move on to Southwest. Very seldom do I talk to a former CEO who loves activists, especially when they're targeting leadership. In this case, why do you think Southwest's leadership might have this under control, despite the concerns that investors have?
I don't know that anyone has anything under control. I just know the reality and practicality of running an airline and making the kind of changes that need to be made to make it more contemporary, which I think Southwest and Bob Jordan, their CEO, has shown some level of commitment. We have yet to see the plan, back to proof, not promise. And I think Elliot's going to be in that same place where, hey, we're going to show you our gun. It's like when you open up the coat and there's a gun in there, they're just going to do that and say, look, I've got this, just to keep everybody's feet to the fire. And I think it's an important distinction. What you read in the press about special meetings and all that, that's just part of the tactic process. I think everyone is looking to see what is Southwest going to do, how are they going to do it. We'll all be the judge of that as investors and make the vote. My hope, my constant thread of conversation that I've had while speaking publicly about this is that there's a place in the middle. Replacing 10 board members with a okay roster of folks, that's not going to make the changes required. Replacing a CEO and a chairman in a highly traditional corporation of over 30 years and a culture that is not going to change necessarily as swiftly. They'll change much more efficiently if they have leadership that knows and understand that culture. So my thought is that somewhere in the middle, these groups should be able to solve. And I'm the only CEO in America that has survived a proxy battle in the airline industry. And we came to a wonderful sort of middle ground. And look where United is today.